to share what is, in my opinion, some powerful information. And I think it's not just my opinion that the information is powerful, but it's certainly general consensus by many that this is some very powerful, life-changing information that can help anyone that will digest and apply it. So again, welcome tonight to our wealth formula presentation. If you are with me, I see a lot. I understand if your camera's off. I certainly respect it. But if you're with me, just let me know. If you just put a one in the chat. Excuse me, I'm a little fighting off a cold here. But if you can just put a one in the chat, let me know you're here. Hey, I see you. I see you. I see you. I appreciate you. And we're gonna dive in tonight so that we are maximizing and respecting your time. All right, thank you so much. Let me share my screen. All right, and if you can see my screen, if you would just let me know, put a thumbs up somewhere so I can see, make sure everyone can see my screen. Thank you so much, Miss Tammy. All right, again, welcome, and my name is James Clark, and part of me I am fighting off a cold. This is the changing of the weather in New Jersey, and it got me a little bit. But either way, no excuses. I'm super happy to be here. Again, my name is James Clark. I am a pastor. I'm an educator, and I am here partnering with this great platform because we have a great opportunity, and I actually would say a mandate to share this powerful message with as many people as we possibly can. And so tonight is our wealth and retirement formula. And again, if you've been on with me at any point in time, you know that I say that this is probably one of my favorite meetings to be a part of because it will revolutionize your thinking, your mindset, if you are willing to apply the information that we share tonight. So, without further ado, let's ask a question. And the question is right there on the screen. It's pretty much rhetorical, but you can answer to yourself. Would you agree that most Americans do not understand how money works? Would you agree to that? And I would like to say that is a truth, that most people do not understand how money works, and to the extent they do not understand what to do with the dollar. And so when you look here at the importance of financial literacy. So if you look here on the screen, you see two dichotomies, two extremes, if you will. You see what is considered the poverty language and then what is considered the wealth language. And when you consider both dichotomies, right, the poverty language and the wealth language, I want to assume, but I think it's probably better that it's not really an assumption, is a reality that most of us have been introduced to the poverty language at some point and stage in our lives, right? And so if you're like me, I grew up with an amazing mother, single family home. She did everything she could to give my brother and I the very best life possible. However, it is in my rearing that I was introduced to the poverty language. Why? Because my mom didn't understand everything all the time. So I heard a lot of these bullet points at different points in time of my life. So I heard go to school, get good grades and get a good job because that was the mindset of many of the people during that time, right? You want to get good grades, and many of the people, the baby boomers and the generation before that, they got a job, worked under 30, 40 years, 50 years, and hopefully retired with something to live with some quality of life at some point. Right. Another thing, when you find a good job, keep it. Again, that goes back to what I just said a moment ago. Money is the root of all evil. That is a very interesting one because many times people will say that, but everybody needs money, right? The rich are robbing the poor. Money doesn't buy happiness, and they don't pay much. The rich should pay more in taxes, and things have gotten really expensive. So, when you look at the poverty language, ladies and gentlemen, that is the focus. The people are focusing on those things. And I'm not going to deny that there are some levels of traces of truths in those things, but that is where many times people spend, oh, excuse me, people spend their time focusing. But I would like to invite you to consider what I have begun to use and adopt as in my life, which is the wealth language. And what you see in the wealth language is in the middle, the Statue of Liberty, right? Or a symbol of what is the Statue of Liberty. And the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of freedom. So, in between the transition from focusing on the poverty side to embracing wealth language, there is an opportunity for freedom, right? Freedom from the bondage, I would say, of circling around the poverty trap to being able to embrace a new way that can begin, as I said, to revolutionize and change your thought process and your way of thinking. So, go to school, get good grades, and start a business, right? Here you go. There's nothing wrong with starting a business. There's certain tax advantages, there's certain benefits. You get a sense of ownership and pride, right? Legacy, right? A job is a good place to start, but not a place to finish. There's nothing wrong with getting a job. If you got people have got to pay bills, people have got to put food on the table, people have got to provide. There's nothing wrong with a job. However, is learning how to use the job in connection with some of the other strategies to build out legacy. It's called the corporate ladder, not the corporate bed, right? So the corporate ladder, I mean, there should be a mobility, movement, things going on. Money isn't everything, but it ranks right up there with oxygen. So here you go, right? Everybody needs oxygen, and everybody needs money. And money is best exchanged for experiences, not things. Certainly, I agree with that. The older I get, the more of a reality that has become for me. And don't work for money, teach your money to work for you. Now, if you are not taking any notes, I encourage you to grab a pen and pencil, put it in your iPhone or your Android or whatever. But these are some powerful nuggets. So I encourage you to write them down. And here, that last bullet is how we're going to kind of see that through line throughout the rest of our time together tonight. Don't work for money, but teach your money to work for you. Because here's the reality, family, right? Money never takes a day off. It never calls in sick. It never on a holiday break. It never goes on vacation. 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days in a week, money is going to work. It's the question is who is it working for? And so we want to put our money in, we want to employ our money so that it can work for us. Right? So here's the reality. Powerful saying here. You are either mastering money or your money is mastering you. Once again, you're either mastering money or your money is mastering you. So, what is wealth? Wealth is the byproduct of money making money for you. Wealth, again, is the byproduct of your money now making money for you. We're going to talk about that. And one of the things I love here is this quote on the bottom that money grows on trees when you realize itself that it is that money itself is the seed and the harvest. So again, I used to hear, money doesn't grow on trees. You think about made of money? I used to hear that, and not in a negative way, but that was just the language, right? It was really done in love, right? But it was just the language of what was understood at the time. But when you realize that you can plant money or you can employ money, and money is not only harvest, the outcome, but it is also seed. If you plant an apple with apple seeds, the seed is the apple seed is the seed, but it's going to produce apple trees, and the tree is going to produce an orchard of apples, which is also going to be your harvest. right? And so here, money is not only the harvest, but is also the seed by which we can employ. And I think that is for many of us a mind set shift, right? Where we're shifting our mindset in a way that we see money as a tool now to be on our side and to benefit us in an amazing way. So right here is, if you don't remember anything I said, I want you to grab a hold of this. And I'm going to pause for a second, just so you can, right? I want you to write this down because this is the wealth formula. And this family is what changed my mindset, changed my thought process, changed my thinking around money and what it can do and how it can work in my life and that of my family. When and the formula is time plus capital plus rate of return minus inflation minus taxes equals wealth. One more time. Time plus capital plus rate of return minus inflation minus taxes equals wealth. And here's the reality: a formula will work for anyone that is working it. A formula will work for anyone that is working it. It is not prejudice. It is not racist. It is not sexist. A formula will work whether you're a man, a woman, young, old, right? A boy or girl, and it'll work. And so this is a formula that is going to continually and consistently benefit you if you apply it to your life. So here, you again are either mastering money or money is mastering you. All right. So here, let's take and look at this case study. We're going to look at each component of this wealth formula, right? We look at this case study. And when you look at this case study, you see Mr. Start Early and you see Mr. Start Late. Here are the factors that in this factor, both people are starting with the same amount of capital. They're going to both start with the same interest, their rate of return, but one is going to leverage time and one is not, right? Once again, if you look at the formula I showed you in the slide before, it's time plus capital plus rate of return. We have one that's going to leverage all three factors and one that's only going to grab a hold of two. But remember, I told you a formula will work for anybody that will work. And however, when you leverage time, you allow your money enough time for interest to compound and to build wealth, right? And so in Mr. Start Early's case, age 25, and if we can agree, age 25 is you're young. You're just trying to get a grip on the realities of adulthood and life. And hey, you just trying to get it going. But Mr. Start Early, hey, he came to the wealth formula, right? He came in contact with someone that shared some information. And so he came to the wealth formula uh, meeting. And so he said, okay, I'm going to take $3,600. I am going to invest it in a vehicle that's going to pay me or earn me rather 8%. And Mr. Start Early saw that after 1 year, he had earned on his money and he had a total of $3,888. So wait a minute, everything has already started working. But the power of compound interest got into effect, came into effect. And so he said, okay, let's do that. Let's rinse and repeat the next year, that $3,600, and now he's at 8,000. And so he rinse and repeat again that next year, $3,600, and now he's at 12,600. And at 28, he does the same thing. And now he's at 17,500 because he's leveraging time, but he's also leveraging the power of compound interest. And at 29, he does the same thing. And at 30, he does the same thing. And at 31, he does the same thing. And what we're seeing is that his money has been employed, and every year is bringing him earning him a quality rate of return. His money is making money every single year that it is employed by him and invested in quality soil, right? Because that is important, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So he now, for 7 years, he has taken $3,600 and employed it to work. But here at age 32, what we see here is that his money is growing, but he is no longer planting because he leveraged time. He only had to contribute $25,000 over a 7 year period. And after 7 years, he's no longer planting, but his money is still working. His money is still growing. His money is still reaping harvest because Mr. Start Early leveraged time. He had good capital and he put it in a vehicle that yielded a quality rate of return. So even though he no longer planted, his money was already in rich soil to continue the growth. Is that amazing or what? Right? Is that amazing? All right. If that's amazing, put a one in the chat. Come on, let's join with me. Just put a one in the chat because hey, we are seeing the results immediately of the growth of his money. But here's also a reality that everybody does not start early. That's just the reality of life. Everybody doesn't start early for one reason or another. So, but the good news is nobody gets left behind. So Mr. Start Late says, "Hey, I didn't I couldn't take advantage of it when Mr. Start Early did. You know, he got 7 years on me, but I see what's happening, so let me join in. So Mr. Start Late gets same capital, same vehicle, and we see the same thing happening to him. Why? Because the formula is a formula that'll work for anybody, right? Even though he started a little late, it's still working. So we see him, make his money's making money. Up until right here, age 39, it's $41,000 that we see that has yielded back to him, right? And at age 40, rinse and repeat, same thing. All the way down to age 48, and you see he is at $131,000. The difference is between Mr. Start Early and Mr. Start Late is that Mr. Start Late had to put a little bit more in, right? He started a little later. He had to put a little more in, but we still see that he is leveraging and earning money on his investment. So even though it started a little later for him, he was still able to work it. And here's the reality, family. Everybody's not going to be Mr. Start Early, and everybody's not going to be Mr. Start Late, but we get to get in where it works, and we still get to have a quality harvest on our seed. All right. And so let's go to how the rule of 72, the rate of returns. And here's what I was saying before, that the quality of your soil determines the quality of your harvest. And so if you are invested in the right vehicle, if you put seed in the right soil, if you put your attention on the right thing, you will then see the quality of your harvest depending on the soil that you are involved in. So here, the rule of 72, and the rule of 72, which is not taught in a lot of colleges, and but here we are giving you this information, right, for free because we want you to win, right? The rule of 72 says it's a simple way to estimate how long it takes for your investment to double, right? So again, we talked about time, we talked about capital, but here is the rate of return. So in the rule of 72, when we look at these factors here, right? We have the same amount of money, which is $10,000. We have the same starting point, which is age 29. The difference is the investment strategy or the vehicle. So we look here at a 1% strategy, age 29, investing 10,000. It will take up 72 years at age 101 for that money to double. And yes, the money made money, but it was at a very slow rate of return, right? And so, 72 years at 101, I always say something else is on my mind. maybe not $20,000. I'm just, trying to thank God to be alive, right? And I'm glad about it, right? But here in a 4% strategy, every 18 years, you're going to see your money double. So at 29, you have that 10,000. At 47, that 20,000. At 65, that 40,000. Right? That's a little bit better. You're seeing movement quicker, right? If you're in an 8% strategy, every 9 years, right? So here you're seeing almost every decade, you're seeing some kind of doubling of your money. So 29, that same 10, 38, now you're at 20, 47, you have 40, 56, you're at 80, and 65 at 160,000. So these numbers are numbers that people can say, okay, I can kind of work with that. But here at a 10% strategy, and we're showing you what is possible. At a 10% strategy, every 7.2 years, you're seeing that money double. So again, almost twice in a decade. You're seeing that 10,000, then that 20,000 at 36, that 40,000 at 43, 80 at 50, 160 at 57, and 320 at 65. So these numbers are some numbers that really can be legacy growing numbers, right? But again, it's the quality of the soil, quality of the investment strategy that will determine the quality of your harvest. And so here, say this with me. You can say it to yourself, you can say it out loud, but success leaves clues, right? Success leaves clues, right? And so when you think about that success leaving clues, you realize here, I realize, and I'm sharing with you that banks have invested in BOLIs, which is bank-owned life insurance, right? And so before the housing crash of 2008, banks had a majority of their money and their cash investments in real estate, which is why, it was such a priority for the government to bail them out when everything went upside down. When mortgages were people were defaulting on their mortgages and homes were going into foreclosure. Banks were having a struggle staying afloat, right? But after that, after they came through that, banks began to diversify their investment strategy and they began to invest in bank-owned life insurance. Or bank-owned life insurance or cash value life insurance. When we look here and see that some of the biggest banks in the world, probably one of these banks holds your money. You have Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, PNC, and Truist Bank. They hold billions with a B of dollars in cash value life insurance. And so if these banks have recognized that the soil of a cash value life insurance policy is powerful, then they have left a clue for us to follow. And so we look at Bank of America at 24 billion, and Wells Fargo at 19 billion, and JP Morgan at 12 billion, PNC Bank at 10 billion, Truist Bank at 7 billion. When we look here at the reality, and these banks have left clues, we can follow them and see similar returns and results in our own life. So, how does our money grow? Right? Our money is growing in one of three ways. Write this down. It's either growing in a fixed strategy, a variable strategy, or an index strategy. Once again, it's growing in a fixed, a variable, or index strategy. So when you look at the fixed strategy, with fixed strategy, you're going to see a return on your money, but it is going to be a steady rate of return. It's going to be slow. It's going to be, but it will grow. It will grow. And depending on what your goals are, some people go in a fixed strategy, right? Other people go in a variable strategy. A variable strategy, I liken it to a roller coaster. Because if you look there, right, it is up, it is down, it is up, it is down, it is up, it is down. And right now, because of the way things are, many people in variable strategies are unfortunately losing money. Because in a variable strategy, you can make a lot of money when the market is up, but when the market goes down, you can lose all the money you made and then some. You can be in the negative, right? So if you look at this chart here, A person starts here at zero and they go and they make money. That's the market is good, but then something happens that is outside of their control, and the market goes down and they lose their initial starting, and now they're negative. But they can always go back up. But now you've got to go up from the negative just to where you started, and then, but it does happen, right? And so the market goes up, you make more money. The market goes down, it goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. And if you are in the height of the market and you need to access money and pull it out, you know what? It's great because then you have done well. But many people find themselves when the market is down, that's when they have to access their money. And you can hear that in when people talk about their 401ks and they talk about how they lost money with their investments because it is in a variable strategy that's up and down, up and down. But my favorite is the index strategy. And in an index strategy, it is a marriage between the fixed and the variable. In the index strategy, you are able to participate in the gains and not in the losses. Now, I'm gonna let that sit for a second. In an index strategy, you're able to participate in the gains and not participate in any of the losses, right? And so here in this, if you see this red staircase, if you start here at zero and the market goes up, you capture those gains, right? And that's the great thing. You get to capture those gains. But if the market then doesn't make any money or the market goes down, you do not make any money, but you don't lose any. So you just go here, you go straight. You didn't go up, but you didn't go down. That is the key thing, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't lose. I don't know about you, but I don't like to lose any money. I don't like to. I have lost money, but I don't like to. Right. And anytime I can make sure I save and not lose, it's a good day. And so here the market goes up again, you get to capture those gains, right? And then here the market is dipping and changing. And but you, for however long that is going down, you do not participate in the losses. And you continue to go up with the gains and not lose with when the market is going down. That is incredible because that is how wealth is being captured by many people that are utilizing an index strategy. And that is what we're introducing and sharing with you tonight, right? Because here's the reality you can be Mr. Start early, right? And sometimes you can be Mr. Start late because the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, right? People that got in on ground floor opportunities and when it took off, they were good. But the second best time to plant is now, right? Everybody doesn't get information at the same time. Everybody doesn't process information at the same time. Everybody's not able to take advantage of information at the same time. But today is the best day to make a move, right? Today is the best day to make a move, right? So if you didn't plant your tree 20 years ago, plant it tonight, right? Here is inflation. Everybody's talking about inflation. But here's the question: are prices going up or is the value of your dollar going down? For the last 10 years, the inflation rate has been at 2.91%. So that means the value of your dollar has decreased annually on an average of 3%. Right? So unless your money is growing at a rate that supersedes inflation, you are losing money. Unless your money is growing at a rate that is superseding inflation, you are losing money. That is why it's important and powerful to make sure that we are in a strategy that is going to help us to be able to participate and capture, again, all of the gains and not the losses, right? So let's talk about taxes. How is your money taxed? Right? You're either looking at a tax now, a tax deferred, or a tax free. Once again, a tax now, a tax deferred, or a tax free. So when we look here in our red bucket, our tax now are going to be our mutual funds, our stocks, our CDs, our savings. That is basically where you're using money that's already been taxed and you're putting it into those different categories. You're putting it into your savings account, you're purchasing your CDs, you're buying your stocks. That's money that's already been taxed. That's tax now money. Many people then move into tax deferred strategy. So that is where you move into a 401k, which is really an IRS code, but we'll talk about that another time. A 401k or IRA or an annuity or 403b. And that is where money is going into these vehicles before tax. And that's okay. But the challenge is that when it's withdrawn, it is taxed. And because we don't know the future, we can't predict all the future. We don't know what the tax rate will be when it's time to withdraw your money. So if you're in a situation that you are withdrawing your money, um, 20 years from now and the tax rates are higher, you have to pay taxes on what it costs at that time, right? You have to pay those taxes. So that is tax deferred. But what we want to share tonight is a tax-free retirement strategy, and that is your Roth IRAs and your life insurance. It is possible, and this was what revolutionized my thinking. Use life insurance while you are alive, benefit yourself. You can leverage life insurance in life. Before I had this information, I thought life insurance was only for those that remain, that I left it for, and that was protecting them at my in my absence. It does that, but it also benefits you while in life for you to begin to grow a tax-free retirement strategy. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to use a case study. And in this case study, this is one of our partners. And with um, this life insurance plan, it is built for um, if someone would die early or just too soon, become ill, or live too long. It captures each component of a person's life. If they would die too soon, become ill, or live too long. Why? Because your greatest asset is your ability to produce income. And your second greatest asset is how it can be protected. Again, your ability to produce income is your greatest asset, but how you protect it is your second greatest asset. So, in this strategy, there's going to be provisions for people that die too soon, unfortunately. There's going to be provisions for people that, if in life they become ill, but there's going to be provisions for people that live long. And that is powerful, that one strategy can do multiple things. So, let's take a look at this case study. And this is applying our wealth formula strategy. And again, it's time plus capital plus rate of return minus taxes minus inflation equals wealth. So in this case, this gentleman, a young gentleman, right? That's in this case study, just let you know, is investment of $156 a month, right? And if we be honest, that is a good amount. But some people spend that on one night's dinner, right? $156, right? So here, $156 a month. And if unfortunately this person would die tomorrow, as it says there, which we don't speak that over anybody, that this company, a National Life Group, is going to send his beneficiaries $500,000. Now, no means and no circumstance does the money replace life, but it does give the family an opportunity to begin to cope, to grieve, to try to put the pieces of life together. $500,000 is a large, substantial amount of money, right? However, but in this case, where this person is using the power of compound interest, right? And they are growing their money because they put their money in the right vehicle. As you see there, right? At age 69, he has over $730,000 potentially saved. But if you go there at 74, it's over $1 million. So he's a millionaire by an initial 20-year funding period of $156 a month. He would be a millionaire at age 74, and up to age 84, he would have close to $2 million in this strategy alone, in this one policy. And unfortunately, if they became ill, he became ill, there is a terminal illness benefit, a chronic illness benefit, a critical illness benefit, and a critical injury benefit. And so if you look here, taking 20 years, right? Because he's missed a start early, and investing $156 a month in this vehicle. The average rate of return over those 20 years are going to be anywhere between 6.4% to 15.8%, and it's going to be tax advantage because the growth of an investment account tied to a genuine life insurance policy cannot be classified as income and therefore cannot be taxed. That's according to the IRS, ladies and gentlemen, right? According to the IRS, that your life insurance growth, your income that's built in your life insurance policy cannot be classified as income. Excuse me, any growth in your life insurance policy cannot be classified as income and then cannot be taxed. So here is a way to have a tax advantage strategy. And because of the rate of return, it is going to supersede the current inflation rate. So remember, it's worth saying it again because it's powerful. It is time plus capital plus rate of return minus taxes minus inflation that's going to equal your wealth. So in this strategy, you're seeing that you're beating out inflation, you're saving on taxes, therefore you are growing your wealth by leaps and bounds, right? And unlike your 401k, any loan against it is void. Any loan against this, you don't have to pay any penalties or taxes. So you're winning on both sides. You're winning on all sides, right? And the 15% is the average rate of return over the last 20 years in the U.S. Pace Setter, which is what the market is for this strategy. So, my friends, this is a clue, right? If Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Truist, JP Morgan Chase is seeing the power of this, you and I must take advantage of it as well, right? So, you're using the power of compounding interest, point to point indexing, and you're only capturing the gains and not the losses. So after 20 years, although money is no longer being invested, actively, the cash value grows no matter what. So if the market is tanking for whatever the reason, there won't be any money made, but there won't be any money lost. And the market is going to go back up again. And when it does, you capture the gains and not the losses. Right. And so as I referenced before, those people that were those banks that were part of the housing crash of 2008, but also 6 years ago seems like a forever ago, but we were all in a pandemic. COVID, shocked us all. Never in our lifetime did we have to shut down the world. In our lifetime that we have to social distance. In our lifetime that we have to, stay home. But in all of those crazy times, if you had money invested in these strategies in an index strategy, you wouldn't have made anything, but you would not have lost a penny. Not a penny. They don't even make pennies anymore. But you would not have lost a penny because your money would have been protected. So who is qualified to work with us, right? We are licensed financial professionals qualified to work with anyone. We customize strategies that work best for you, which in essence, we're saying we don't set it and forget it. We make sure that each person that we work with is maximizing the strategies to the best of their goals for them and their families, right? We meet with our clients every 6 months to guide and coach them to their financial goals, right? So the secret is out. We're not trying to be secret agents, right? We want to get this message out. We want to help people. We want people to understand that there is a strategy that wealthy people are exercising every day because the strategy will work for anybody that works it. So it is time for everyone to have access to this information. So I hope this information was valuable to you. I hope it was beneficial for you. I hope you learned something tonight. I hope that you're going to take this back to whomever you know. And listen, there's a strategy that you got to tap into. There's a formula. Remember, I said that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is tonight. So I wish you well. I hope that you take this and maximize it. And I look forward to celebrating your wealth with you, each one of you. All right. Good night, all. God bless you. Get back with the person that invited you to this call. And I wish you well. Have a good night, everyone.